In this lesson we're going to talk about and learn how to bind off. When you're making a project and when you come to the end of it, you have to have something to do with all of these stitches that are left on your needle. If you pull your needle out, you know it's all going to unravel. So you've got to be able to bind them off. And in certain places you'll hear this talked about as cast off, but to me it's bind off. That may be a UK term, I'm not positive about that. So in order to bind off one stitch, it requires 2 stitches to do that. So we're going to knit the first 2 stitches. So we're going to pick up that first stitch that we knitted and we're going to pass it over the stitch in front of it. Pick up the first stitch, pass it over the second stitch, and there you can see it's bound off. Now for the next stitch, it still requires 2 stitches. It requires this one here on your needle, and it requires the next one. So we knit the next stitch, pick up the first stitch, pass it over the second stitch. There's 2 bound off. 1 bar and 1 bar. And if you crochet, you might notice that it kind of looks like a chain stitch almost, or the top of any of the stitches. So we'll go ahead and we'll bind off again, knit the next stitch, requires 2 stitches, pass the first stitch over the second stitch. Now be careful about pulling all of this too tight. And when too tight, it's going to be what you're controlling here with your finger. Because if it's too tight and it's at the top of a sweater, the sweater may not fit over your head. So be very, very careful about that. So I'm going to go ahead, bind off a few more stitches, drill it into your head that it requires 2 stitches to bind off 1 stitch.